It's time to explore the great indoors,
Grandpa, you know how to play this game?
where snacks are shared with smiles,
Really? Another romantic comedy, Sarah?
and family time comes first.
Movie night is my favorite night.
Explore the great indoors with Eagle Communications with TV and internet starting at $84.99 for 2 years.
Eagle Communications is your complete business solution with options to fit any budget. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. Eagle Communications will build your personalized business plan. Call us at 877-61-EAGLE.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Welcome again to our Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for joining us, and thanks as always to the editor, producer, and behind the camera for our series with Brandon Cooley. We're in the studios of Eagle Community Television with well-known Hayes artist Dennis Schiel, talking about a couple of Dennis's projects, and one of which is a pending project and another one which has been approved. Let's begin with the current project, if we could, Dennis. That is the historical mural that's on the north wall of the Fox Pavilion downtown Hayes. I'm curious to what responses you've had from the public, including the one that Brandon said, as he described it, as basically beautiful.
Well, that's pretty much the response. You know, it's been overwhelming, the people that like it. They don't realize that I did it. You know, they figure. But, you know, that mural just came out so nice. Like I said, the response has been nothing but positive all the way through.
And it has been such an addition to downtown Hayes.
Yeah. I really think it's, you know, well, it's in addition to the arts that are in throughout Hayes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, that's one thing that we don't probably promote enough. I mean, because of all of Felton's, I mean, his stuff down there, I mean, it's just great. I mean, you could go throughout Hayes and see all kinds of art. But a lot of people aren't aware of it because they've been around it so long, I think.
It's come to be acceptable, and yet at the same time, for those who are seeing it early on for the first time maybe, it's incredible for the size community, the scope and magnitude of what's available here.
Yeah, when we first moved here, I mean, we knew there was a lot of artists, but we were flying on United, and there was an article in one of the papers, one of the magazines. It was one of those travel magazines, United Travel or whatever. And it was talking about Hayes, Kansas, and the number of artists that lived in Hayes, Kansas. And I wished I'd have saved that, but I just thought, well, that's going to appear everywhere. So, but that's pretty amazing.
And a lot of them are artists in residence and have been for many, many years.
That's right. I mean, it's, you know, I never knew the scope of it until, you know, you've been around it and you just see it. The college helps with that. Brenda downtown just does an amazing job with that.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Talk about a real community plus.
Yeah.
Brenda Mater, director of the Hayes Arts Council.
That's right.
So what's the latest? Last time we talked, when we were talking about the Fox mural and its completion and such, you were pending on a water tower project for the city of Hayes. Where are we on that now,
Well,
Dennis?
we just met with them, and I met with the water department, and they said, let's get started on this, and we're going to put the whole project together with repainting the upper part for Sternberg. I'm not going 120 feet high to paint that on there. They're going to have to hire somebody. And then, you know, they have to, because of EPA, they found lead in the paint, so they have to strip it all down and they have to repaint it. And then once they get that done, I will be painting. It looks like for sure we'll be painting one way or the other on the
So project is a go then?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be.
Good news.
So we'll go 67 feet high. That's as high as I'll go because I've got a scissor. If you remember the scissor that I worked on downtown, this scissor will go 60 feet high. and I figure I can reach 7 feet. So that's as high as I'm going.
All right. Well, and up there on that scissor, 60 feet high, that's a little dicey sometimes anyway. Isn't it?
I've never been that high, so we'll find out. This last one went 40 feet. And that wasn't, the first 3 days I was going to give up the project. And then after that, then I got used to it and it was all right.
Well, for those of us who are concerned about your safety in future art projects you're going to develop, are you going to buckle in? Are you going to have
we'll
a
figure
belt
out
attachment of something?
I'm more worried about this.
I was going to say, those things are not necessarily stable.
You know, it may take 10 years to wait if the wind keeps blowing.
And add then the Kansas wind, which was a problem with the Fox project anyway.
Yeah, so we'll see what, it'll be an experience, let's put it that
but
way.
Sternberg will have the top, and then your piece.
Yeah, they have already committed to redoing the top, and I'm not sure if, does that, but that's, what do we figure, it's 94 to the bottom of that, and then another 40 feet to the top of that, so I'm not going 130 feet high to paint.
Have you gotten any input from the city as to what they would like to have, or is it going to strictly be your creation?
It's going to be mine, and we're going to go 67 all the way around. So it'll go all the way around. We'll have Hickok. He'll be the main focus, and then Custer will be on there, and Cody will be on there. And you'll be able to view them from going when you're headed east. And then coming back west, there'll be a buffalo, and the buffalo is, if you compare to size, the buffalo that's on the Fox, it'd be 6 times the size of that buffalo. So that's how big that mural is.
Oh my.
And you'll be able to see it going to the west, and then right in the middle will be Hayes. I'd like to use America, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the deal is with the
again.
Yeah, I mean it's. But we'll get into that. So.
Boy, you'll see that buffalo from a long way down the interstate.
Yeah, you should. Well, Hickok, if you figure it's going to be painted from his knees up, so he'll be 67 feet tall. So that would mean he'd be like a 90-foot figure. I think you'll see him from quite a ways away too.
So the 3, as they call them, the 3 amigos will be there in that.
And then on the backside, I'm not sure, because that buffalo will wrap around and his hind end will be there. But we'll do something there. I'm not sure what we're going to put in that. I haven't really thought about that, but I think we're going to leave that open to something will pop up.
Oh, the
It always
artist
does,
will develop something, I think, in the future for sure. So is there a timeline on this, Dennis?
They want to we're going to try to get the whole project, we're planning to go to Dane Hansen for help funding. And then we're hoping to do that this year, and then they would like to get all the painting done this year, so I can start on it in April of next year. I think that's the schedule. And then we're looking at, depending on time and weather, we're probably looking at 1 to 2 years. I'm planning on 2019, 2020. So
we'll be watching the progress of that for sure. Let's turn our attention to our current project. You've provided us some pictures that our producer Brandon Cooley will put in to show us, if you've not seen it up close, the north wall of the Hayes VFW at 22nd and Vine. A mural that Dennis has completed within the last year. The official dedication held late last year on a less than perfect day, I would think we'd have to admit, Dennis.
Well, no, I thought it was perfect. We was getting moisture, I think.
That's what it took, I guess, wasn't it? But
I'll hire myself out.
Yeah.
You need moisture, I'll paint a mural.
You want some rain? Call Dennis. Tell me about the background of the project. Another Hayes Arts Council commission, plus a lot of community and area support.
Yeah, the Hayes Arts Council has been the commission entity on all of these murals, and they will have some part pretty much in the big tower mural. And then the reason we do that is because it becomes a 501c3 project, to where anybody that donates to it can use that as a tax donate, take it off on taxes. So it really works out well. We've had all kinds of donations. One of our biggest, Bob Schmidt, who just passed away, the last mural was dedicated to him and his wife. And this one, it was kind of hard to work on it because it ended up,
Yeah.
but that's, and then, we had everyone from, well, the one I really enjoy was, there was this little old guy, and I said this at the dedication, and this little old guy says, I was on one of those carriers, and it was Don Bickle.
Oh.
And I says, well, what's your number? I'll put your number on there. But he was there probably every 2 days looking at that thing. And I think he really enjoyed it. I enjoyed having him around. So
got a lot of support from the community, no doubt, and of course from the Hayes Arts Council as well. Talk about the thinking. Take us into the artist's thinking on this, if you would, Dennis. Planning the project. What do you put in? You have to leave out some things, obviously. The 5 branches of the service are represented. Right. There's seals on top there.
Right, and that was one thing. I wanted to make sure we pretty much put every conflict that, major conflict that Kansas has been involved with. We didn't go back to the Revolutionary War, but we do have, the Buffalo Soldier, which kind of represents Civil War.
Top left of the mural, if you're looking
we got
at
World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and then what I call the Desert Wars, from that point on.
Yeah.
And then all the branches. I just wanted to make sure we kept it generic enough to where we didn't offend anybody and forget somebody. I don't like doing that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I just try to keep it generic.
Well, and we also get a representation, if you will, armor divisions,
Right.
The Walker Air Base representation.
Yeah, we have
the airplanes, both the new and the old
Right.
B-29 and so.
the B-29. Are we sure it's a B-29?
Not really sure, no.
Yeah, I think it is a B-29 because somebody came in and says it's a 17. I says, no, it's not a 17. So it's a 29. And that's Walker Air Force Base. The Buffalo Soldier, which, and then we have the World War I, what was represented with that, with the machine gun.
Yeah.
I mean, because that was more of a ground conflict.
The old trench warfare, basically.
Yeah. And then it started to advance. I mean, we have World War II represented by the Walker Air Force Base. That's where it came from. And then we also have, trying to think what we had, the aircraft carrier was from World War II. And then we go into Vietnam, or Korea, which was more of a, my dad, who I dedicated it to, he served in Korea, and he said it was always just so wet, so I wanted to make sure I kind of represented that soldier in the mud, wet.
It came
cold,
through, too, in that display of the Korean conflict, as it was called.
And then Vietnam, that was more when the helicopters entered into, and then the desert wars. Now, a lot of people don't realize on the end of the one soldier right on the end is a woman soldier. Well, it's hard, the women soldiers, they're just not, they look as tough as the men soldiers, and it's hard to represent that. So, but there is a woman soldier represented on there. I just tried to make sure we had every base covered. But
well, I think you pulled it off. Absolutely.
the jet, like you said, it said Kansas Militia on there. I just came across that picture when I was going through whatever jets, and I thought, well, that's the one that we're going to put on there because the Kansas Militia was on there.
Yeah, that's something that many of us had not even been aware of.
I wasn't either.
Kansas Militia 337, I believe, is the number that's on there. What obstacles did you have to overcome?
Well, on that mural, the brick was, I can't say it on TV, but
formidable, let's say. Okay.
Well, the brick down at the Fox, really, after I got used to it, wasn't bad. The brick on the Vets Club has these little cracks throughout the brick, so it's very porous. And when we put the base coat on there, I thought it'd take about 2 gallons of paint to put a base coat on. We ended up using over 7 gallons of paint.
Wow.
And then it still wasn't, I mean, it's still just, and then to get detail, the kind of detail that I'd like to put into it, it was almost impossible because your brush would fall down into those cracks. And so you couldn't put the detail that I'd like to put into it. It ended up being pretty rough. Don't go up real close. Go across the street to look at it.
Yeah, that's probably the best vantage point,
Yeah,
quite
it is.
frankly.
That's what I always planned. So.
But a different kind of brick, apparently.
Oh yeah, it was, and I didn't even think about it when I took it on. But yeah, that was the biggest obstacle on that mural. I mean, getting used to painting in the cement the seams doesn't bother me. The brick doesn't bother me as long as it. But that was interesting. So.
Well, and you're on ground level too. That
Well,
makes it
that
fun.
was nice, except for, let's see, I left my ladders there the very first week. I think it was the first week I was working on it, and somebody came by and stole my ladders. Who would steal ladders from the Vets Club?
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
And then I always seemed to fall off of something, and I fell backwards off of that. And I caught myself, which was great, but
oh dear.
you know, falling on that rock wasn't very much fun. But
I didn't realize.
I always tend to either, you know, like down at the Fox, I fell off the ladder, you know, going up, which is good because falling off of that thing, I wouldn't be around to paint the second one.
Wow.
And then when I painted over at the rec center, I fell backwards off of that ladder. I'm glad I was going to grass because that'd have been the end of it too. So when I'm up 67 feet, I will have a rope around me, but I'll probably end up falling over and hanging myself.
I had
don't know.
no idea being an artist could be so hazardous to your health. My goodness.
Well, you've got to keep, when you're on ladders and stuff, you got to keep thinking you're on ladders, and I just sometimes forget.
Well, you get into your work and
Yeah.
the process that's going on.
Well, and that's what happened down at the VFW. I had this scaffolding that I kind of was standing on, and I was painting, and I wanted to step back and look at it, and I took that step backwards, and it wasn't the right step.
And you're in a high traffic area besides all that,
Yeah,
you know.
and I got up real quick, hoping nobody saw me.
Besides that, all of the judgments that take place from the vehicles going by, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So the dedication, a little bit more about your dad and the Korean War dedication. What was the reference there?
Well, it was dedicated to those who serve.
Yeah.
Obviously, but the one dedication was to my dad. I mean, he served. He really never, you know, I mean, he got the Purple Heart, but he served over there, and it just seemed fitting to.
Well, and we've heard references the Korean War, a conflict, the forgotten war, and all of the things that the vets did not get.
That's the one thing that, you know, working on this mural, the number of people that stopped by. I mean, everywhere from World War I or World War II, Korea, Vietnam, you know, and those people, I mean, they deserve the recognition. That's right. I mean, it just.
And they have a story to tell.
Oh yeah, every one of them had a story. I mean, it's just amazing. And they come by. Some of them would come by, and even some of it's amazing. I had 2 or 3 from the street that were living on the street. You could tell they remember. You know, they served in this and they did this, and you really felt at that time, you know, that. And like I said, they deserve the recognition, so that's what.
Well, doesn't that help you as an artist to connect to the work you're doing, to hear those stories and references?
Yeah, it does. The brick doesn't help, but
if you can overcome the brick.
Yeah, as far as the inspiration, it really gives you, you know, and everybody down at the VFW, you know, I mean, that was just amazing. They were just, they turned over backwards for me. I mean, it was really good.
That's good to know. How long do you suppose it'll last?
Who knows? You know, On the brick, I think it's going to really hold. It might start peeling off of the cement seams, you know, but that really won't make much difference. And I think the image will be there for quite a while. You know, I always reference the Good Bookstore downtown. There's a little bitty mural that was painted on the side of that building. I don't remember. It says a Good Bookstore, and it's
Yeah.
that has been there for over 20 years. And they used just, you know, they didn't use any special paint. They didn't put any kind of varnish over it, and it's just, I mean, it's faded, but it's been there for 20 years. So I don't know how long. You know, this could be, the one downtown, I'm really not concerned. It could be 30, 40 years, because it could patina with the color scheme that was used.
Yeah.
It could patina and it would still look good. You know, the one on the Vets Club, if it loses the color, fades a little bit, might fade out a little bit more. You know, reds seem to always fade out really fast. You know, so we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's got a varnish over it, and probably every, I tell them every 2-3 years, maybe put another varnish on it.
A little maintenance required then from
yeah,
time
clean
to
it
time
and
on it.
It'd probably be fine.
What's your current project? I understand you're going to Russell.
Yeah, Russell called me up, and they want me to do another mural on the Vets Club, or the VFW there. So I'll be getting started on it in April. And it's a bigger, it's probably twice as big as the one that's on our VFW, but they have a bigger wall there. And it'll be along the same lines. It'll try to represent all of the services, and I'll try to, I mean, it just would be different subjects, but along the same lines as the one that's here.
Is it brick?
Yeah, but it's smoother brick. I checked it out before. They had called me up and they said, well, we want you to do a mural for us, and we don't know where we want it. So we went and looked at a lot of different places. And the final place was the VFW. Now they have another great big old bin that's right on Main Street. And they're looking at doing something on that, but that'll be interesting.
Now, when you go to this VFW project in Russell, will there be a duplication? Are you going a different direction? Are you kind of combining a little bit?
Well, it'll be more, it'll be the VFW here was more in picture style, you know, where I put the pictures and the shadow in the pictures. That will be, the VFW in Russell will be more towards the one downtown at the Fox. I mean, it'll be those colors, that type of collage work. So it'll be a lot, it won't even be, they'll both be different in their own ways. You know, so.
Starting this spring?
Yeah, starting this spring. So it'll take about 3 months to finish that one.
We'll be looking forward to it.
As long as we don't get rain, but if we get rain, that's good too.
Yeah, that's all right too, because you can take credit for it.
Yeah, again.
Well-known Hayes artist Dennis Schiel, the creator of the VFW War Memorial, to honor those all who have served. Our community connection.
Hi, I'm Gary Shorman, President and CEO of Eagle Communications, a 100% employee-owned company. I'd like to personally thank you for selecting Eagle for your internet, television, and telephone service. By choosing Eagle, you're choosing to keep your dollars local with a company that reinvests back in your community. Let's make this a great year for your community. Check us out at eaglecom.net. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Eagle Communications is your ultimate business partner. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. The only piece missing is your business. Call Eagle Communications today at 877-61-EAGLE